Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Name is Scott Novak, calling in for an interview.
Hi, Scott. Thank you for being patient with us. We had another guest go over, so sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
We're really excited to have you on because you're actually the first official we've ever had on our show, which is already 200 episodes deep. So thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
So, the Super Bowl obviously just happened and everybody had everything they felt they wanted to say about it. But from your perspective of a referee, how do you feel like that game went as far as calls and how the tempo and things were kind of set?
Well, I would never discuss any of the calls. I think it was, a pretty good defensive game if you like defense. I think Tampa played exceptional defense and made things difficult for Kansas City. But, I'm not really sure. I don't get too wrapped up into it as a fan, but, from what I saw, it seemed to be a pretty good game.
And during the season, just because obviously COVID, it changed a lot of things for a lot of people. From the perspective of a referee, how difficult was it for you to kind of navigate that?
Well, yeah, the whole thing, it's touched us all, whether it's officiating or just our life. But from an officiating standpoint, there were so many other things that procedurally we had to go through just to get through the season, same as the players. So it was a battle, from beginning to end. Obviously we didn't have a preseason. The players didn't have a training camp, no preseason games, so we started week one, and we all did the best that we could just to get through it. And we were battling every step of the way, but it changed things. There was a lot of things that we normally got accustomed to doing, in past years where we get to meet and have in-person pre-games and in-person dinners, and none of that happened this year. We just basically got to the site, saw each other when we got on the bus to go to the game, and did the game and left. So it definitely was a change, and certainly a year that I don't think any of us will ever forget.
And as far as your journey as a referee, is that something you always pursued, and how did you get into becoming a referee?
You mean to be an actual white hat referee? It was something I was afforded the opportunity in college when I worked in the Mountain West Conference back in 2004, and I wouldn't say it was always a dream, but it's something that I always wanted to do. So when that opportunity was presented to me, I jumped on it, and then was fortunate enough to be offered to go to the Big 12 in 2008 as a referee. And again, there's no guarantees in this application. So once you get, again, there's no guarantees you'll ever even make it to the NFL. So you just do the best that you can, and hopefully, you just kind of wait for your phone to ring, and if you get that call, you accept it, and you go into the league and you work whatever position. But they certainly knew what I did in college. So again, there's no specified timeline to become a referee in the NFL. So when there was an opening, and I was given that call again by Al Riveron at the time, I certainly didn't want to pass it up.
And you mentioned college. I'm just curious, is there really a difference as an official or referee between the college game and the football game, or is it just, and the pros?
Oh yeah, there's a huge difference. There's all the elite college players will get a shot in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So not everybody that plays in college is going to make it there. So that's one thing. Obviously the speed of the two is totally different. When you get to the league, to the NFL, these are the greatest athletes. They're the best at what they do. And they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. So that's a huge adjustment. But the other side of it, college, the atmospheres are a little bit different. But certainly, being afforded the opportunity to work in a Big 12 in a Power 5 conference, you got to see some really, really good football and some good players and work in front of some good crowds. But when you're fortunate enough to get to the NFL, everything just gets ratcheted up 10 times. And it's just, the skill of these guys is amazing. The speed, like I said, and hopefully we can get back to having our fans back in the stands, because they're the greatest fans in the world.
Yes, sir. And I know you mentioned everything leveling up, so I'm just curious for you, like, how do you stay in shape, like physically and prepared for those games? Like, do you have a fitness regimen that you follow or anything like that?
Yeah, it's, for me, it's always kind of been a lifestyle, because again, when you're dealing with athletes that are as good as they are in the shape that they're in, even the big guys, it's, when you watch the combine and some of these big linemen are running sub-5s and some of these big linebackers are running 4.5. It's just amazing. So, we owe it to the game to stay in shape. And again, for me, it's more of a lifestyle, but it's literally 6 days out of the week, hitting the gym, doing cardio and doing weights, and just doing everything that I can, because I'm not getting any younger, and these guys are getting faster, and with the turnover in the league, they're getting younger, they're staying younger, so we have to do what we can to stay up with them. So we owe it to the game, not only physically but mentally, to be the best that we can, because again, they're the best at what they do, and they expect that from us. So my job, not only just because I want to be healthy, but to do what I want to do at the highest level, it's mandatory that we keep ourselves in the best shape possible.
And with that standard that you guys set, for people who are paying their dues in it, they probably have a better understanding. But for the novice fan, whoever, could you kind of explain to them that process of paying your dues in this, what that looks like, the mental, you already talked about the physical, but the mental standards you have to put on yourself to do this?
Yeah, specifically in our league in the NFL, there's tests that we have to pass. From and I'm talking about rules tests. So, from a rules knowledge standpoint, from my standpoint as a referee, you literally have to know everything. So you've got to know the playing rules, you have to know the enforcement rules, and you have to know all the replay rules. So that, right there, that's 3 different books that you have to know. So, we really have to be on top of from our game from that standpoint. So, that's, and everybody's a little bit different. For myself, I try to, stay on top of the rules every day, at least put in 30 minutes to an hour of just, reading. And yeah, it sounds very repetitious, but again, I think the more that you see things, hopefully over time you become a sponge and it just becomes second nature. So, I think the casual fan, may not really know what we go through, and that's okay. But, the work that we put in, to be at the level that we are it's very demanding of us. So not only just the rules study, but, watching film, and seeing players' tendencies, and, making sure that we understand what the league and the competition committee wants us to call. It's really, it's more than just rolling out of bed on a Sunday and just going down and working a game. It's you dedicate. Once you get in here, it's extremely hard to make it to the NFL, but it's even harder to stay. So you really have to put the time in, and some of us have full-time jobs along with it, so we're really kind of doubling up, and from an hour standpoint. So if you work a 40-hour normal job during the week, I guarantee you, especially from my standpoint, I'm putting in at least another 40 to 60 hours a week just on the referee side.
And with all that, do you find like your skills, your approach as a referee, do you find that crossing over into your daily life or your everyday job? And also, how do people usually react when you tell them you are an NFL official referee?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's certainly a lot of parallels with what I do. Being in sales and management, and then certainly having to go on the field and basically managing the game. So there's a lot of things that correlates. The communication with the coaches and the players, and trying to put out fires and things of that nature. But for me, the officiating's always kind of been a nice kind of caveat to have in the business world, because again, I'm not going to say it allows me to get indoors that other folks can't, but for some reason, people just like to talk about football. So it's that along with they see you on TV, so they know who you are, and the folks in the community know who you are. I think it's always been kind of an asset, but it's something that you certainly don't abuse it. It's a privilege to be in the NFL. And, again, it's just, I don't change anything. I'm not any different than I am on the field versus in the business world. I'm a very ethical, high integrity type person. I treat people, the way that I expect to be treated. So I treat the business, just like I do, when I'm officiating on the field, and I take it very seriously. So it's been nice to be able to do both. I've been lucky that the folks that I have worked for support what I do. I think they see the benefit of me, being a referee, and then also, working for them, because again, it's, I'm not going to say it's not a celebrity status thing, but it's just it's nice to be able to talk about football in certain situations.
It's a good conversation starter, icebreaker.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's just again, people. A lot of folks like to talk about it. So, and they think I know a lot of things that I don't, and it's okay. So, no worries there.
And with all that, what is your favorite moment from your time refereeing?
Favorite moment? Boy, I mean, there's so many. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things that we do off the field that you probably remember more than just working certain games, and that may sound kind of weird, but understand when we go work a game, it's all business. So that's our job, and we're so focused every play of what we do. And I'm not going to say that we don't enjoy it, because we love what we do or we wouldn't do it. But you're just so wrapped up in doing what you do that the stuff that you do off the field with your crewmates and the friendships that you develop over the years, some of those things you take with you forever. And you can remember some of the crazy things that you've done with guys, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And then they ask you about a certain game, and sometimes you just can't remember it. So, the memories, it may all come back to you, but, when things are over. But I know for me personally, you tend to remember a lot of the stuff that you do off the field with the guys than some of the things that happen on the field. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that happen on the field that you certainly won't forget to. But, probably the first game I ever worked in the NFL was a preseason game in Tennessee and Green Bay, and I'll never forget it because it rained the entire game and it just downpoured. And that's just something you won't forget. Some of the cold games, some of the hot games, and some of those memories you won't forget. But a lot of the things that you do with the guys off the field are some of the best memories that you'll ever develop in this avocation.
Well, I'm glad that first raining game didn't deter you away from, the longevity that you've had.
you always take the good with the bad, and it's again, you don't, whether you're working on a day, early in September somewhere in Florida where it feels like it's 110 on the field, or you're ending the year somewhere in Green Bay or somewhere where it's cold, where it might be 5 or 10 below. You just love every minute of it. So,
all right. Good. All right, Scott. Well, thank you so much for calling in. If you want to just let people know where they can find you or anything that you want to promote, you can go ahead and do that. But just thank you so much for this time. It's been a great interview so far.
Yeah, appreciate your time, guys, and appreciate you having me on and allowing me to talk a little bit about what we do.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Stay safe and have a great night.
Okay, you do the same. Thank you.